All right, ready to dive in. Today we're taking a look at Dr. Sten Ekberg's 10 Signs Your Diet is Destroying Your Health.
Sounds good to me.
I've got his YouTube video all queued up,
Yeah,
and I have a feeling this might change how we look at food, what we eat.
absolutely. I think a lot of people experience these nagging symptoms that they don't really think anything of.
Yeah,
And Dr. Ekberg connects that back to the food choices.
that's so true. Okay, so let's jump right into the first sign.
Okay.
Constant hunger.
Yeah,
I mean, we've all been there, right? You eat and you're still not satisfied.
right.
Dr. Ekberg points to processed foods and sugar as the main culprit, and it all boils down to blood sugar.
And it's not just that they lack nutrients, which is a huge part of it, but they also send our blood sugar on this roller coaster ride.
Oh, yeah.
It spikes up and then it crashes down, leaving us feeling even hungrier than before.
So it's like our body is crying out for fuel, but we're giving it like junk food instead.
Exactly. Yeah. And because our cells aren't getting the nutrients they need, they keep signaling for more and more food.
Which brings us to the second sign, cravings. Now, I'm really curious about this one because sometimes it feels less like I want that cookie and more like the body's being hijacked.
Yeah. It's not just in your head. There's the science of food addiction and dopamine. You get a surge of dopamine when you have the sweet stuff, and that reinforces that behavior.
And get this, some of our gut bacteria actually thrive on sugar.
Right.
And they can even send signals to our brain, making us think we're the ones craving it. Isn't that crazy?
That's amazing. It's a really powerful connection between the gut and the brain, the gut-brain connection.
Totally.
And the composition of the bacteria in our gut is determined by what we eat, so we have to be mindful of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of unsettling. Like, are we even in control of what we crave?
It challenges the idea of willpower.
Okay. Number 3, this one hits close to home for me. Feeling exhausted even after a full night's sleep. Ugh. Dr. Ekberg links this to diet, too.
Right.
I'm starting to see a pattern here.
It's those blood sugar swings again. When our blood sugar dips at night, it triggers cortisol, the stress hormone.
So even though we're in bed, our body is stressed out.
Essentially, yes.
Wow.
And cortisol suppresses melatonin, which is the sleep hormone that regulates our sleep-wake cycle. What's even more fascinating is that serotonin, which contributes to feelings of well-being, is actually a precursor to melatonin.
Wait, so if our gut health is off and we're not producing enough serotonin, that could mess with our sleep.
Precisely. It all comes full circle.
This is all connected. Wow, this is big. Okay, next up is a frustration that I think a lot of us can relate to. Stubborn weight that just won't budge.
Yeah.
We know that nutrient-poor foods make us overeat, but Dr. Ekberg says they also contribute to something called insulin resistance.
Right. This is key. So insulin helps our cells absorb glucose from the bloodstream for energy.
Yeah.
But when we constantly overload our system with sugar and processed foods, our cells become less responsive to insulin.
So it's like our body's fuel gauge is broken.
Perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And then that leads to a buildup of glucose in the blood, which then gets stored as fat.
And then there's the challenge of yo-yo dieting,
Right.
which, I've always wondered how our bodies kind of bounce back after these periods of restriction. It sounds like it's not just about willpower, it's about understanding how our body responds to different foods.
Absolutely. It's about creating a way of eating that nourishes our bodies rather than fighting against them.
This next sign might seem a bit vain. I'm just going to put that out there. But none of us want to look older than we are. Dr. Ekberg talks about how sugar can accelerate aging. And I'm all ears on this one.
It's all about a process called glycation. So remember those blood sugar spikes we talked about?
Oh, yeah.
When excess sugar molecules bind to collagen and elastin, they form harmful compounds. They're called AGs.
AGs. Oh, that sounds bad.
Yeah. It stands for Advanced Glycation End Products.
Okay.
And those are literally aging us from the inside out. They contribute to wrinkles, sagging skin, and loss of elasticity. And of course, processed foods are major contributors to this process.
Or our diet can literally show up on our faces.
Yeah.
That's kind of amazing. And scary at the same time.
It's a powerful reminder that what we put into our bodies has a direct impact on how we age.
Okay, mood swings. We all have them.
Right.
But how much of that is our diet to blame?
Yeah. Blood sugar instability is a major mood saboteur.
Oh.
Those energy crashes, often they come with irritability, anxiety, brain fog.
Oh, yeah.
And to make matters worse, processed foods lack those essential fat and acids that are crucial for brain health and mood regulation.
Right. And we mentioned earlier that 90% of serotonin is produced in the gut.
That's right.
And serotonin's a big, player in mood, right?
Huge.
So if our gut bacteria aren't happy, our mood can suffer too.
Exactly. It's amazing how interconnected everything is. Have you noticed any links between certain foods and your mood?
That's a good question. I do notice that when I eat a lot of processed food, I feel sluggish and irritable, like my brain is just running on fumes.
It's a reminder to pay attention to those subtle cues our body gives us.
Speaking of subtle signs, Dr. Egberg mentioned something I've never even thought of before.
Okay.
The appearance of our tongues.
Yeah.
Apparently, it can reveal a lot about our health.
Yeah, a white coating on the tongue can indicate candida overgrowth,
Interesting.
which is a type of yeast infection. And candida is naturally present in our bodies, but it can proliferate when our immune system's weak or our gut bacteria are out of balance.
And of course, sugar feeds that candida growth.
Exactly. So it highlights the importance of understanding that we have these diverse bacterial ecosystems throughout our bodies.
It's not just in the gut.
Not just in the gut, yeah.
Right. Okay, so it's not just about brushing our teeth. It's about paying attention to these subtle signs that our bodies are giving us.
Precisely.
All right, moving on to sign number 8, bruising easily. Now, I'm someone who bumps into things a lot.
Okay.
And I have noticed more bruises lately. Is this something to be concerned about?
It could be a sign of a deeper nutritional deficiency,
Okay.
particularly in vitamin C and K.
Okay.
Vitamin C is crucial for collagen production, which gives our blood vessels strength and integrity.
And vitamin K is essential for blood clotting.
Exactly. And here's where it gets really interesting. Healthy gut bacteria actually produced vitamin K.
Whoa. So a compromised gut microbiome can affect your vitamin K levels.
Yeah,
Wow. It's amazing how it's all interconnected.
it is.
Like our gut health impacts almost every aspect of our well-being.
Yeah, it truly does.
Okay, let's talk about a serious health issue that's becoming increasingly common: high blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Many people just assume it's all about salt, but Dr. Ekberg presents a different perspective.
Yeah. Sodium plays a role, but he emphasizes that insulin resistance is a primary driver of high blood pressure.
How so? I don't really understand the connection.
When our cells become resistant to insulin, it triggers a cascade of events. One of those is that insulin signals the kidneys to retain more sodium in fluid,
Oh.
increasing blood volume and ultimately blood pressure.
So it's not as simple as just cutting back on salt.
Exactly. Addressing the root cause, which is often a diet high in processed foods, leading to insulin resistance, is key.
That makes sense.
A healthy body can regulate sodium effectively.
So it's about addressing that underlying issue, not just treating the symptom.
Exactly.
Okay, let's move on to the final sign on Dr. Ekberg's list: getting sick with every cold and flu that goes around. Ugh, I think we've all been there.
Right. That's a telltale sign of a weakened immune system. And, you guessed it, diet plays a crucial role. When we're not getting enough essential nutrients, our immune defenses are compromised. Things like zinc, vitamin C, selenium.
And don't forget about the detrimental effects of sugar on our immune system.
Of course, absolutely.
It's like we're just, giving those viruses a welcome mat.
Sugar suppresses the activity of white blood cells. Those are our immune system's warriors,
Yeah.
making us more susceptible to infections. And we can't overlook the gut immunity connection either. 70% of our immune system resides in the gut.
So a healthy gut equals a strong immune system.
Yeah, it's all starting to connect, right?
It is.
It is. And then, of course, we can't forget about the impact of stress on our immune system.
Oh, of course.
When we're chronically stressed, our bodies prioritize dealing with that stress, diverting resources away from other essential functions like immunity.
It's like our bodies are constantly in that fight or flight mode,
Exactly.
which leaves us depleted and vulnerable.
This is why a holistic approach to health is so important. We need to address both our diet and our stress levels to really support our overall well-being. It really highlights that mind-body connection. Our mental and emotional states impact our physical health.
It's like a two-way street.
It is.
Yeah. So Dr. Ekberg he's not just talking about a dietary makeover here, right?
Right.
This is a lifestyle shift.
Precisely. He wants us to pay attention to the subtle signs our bodies are giving us and make choices to support our overall well-being. Becoming aware of our food choices.
Yeah.
And prioritizing nutrient-dense, whole foods that nourish our bodies instead of sabotaging them.
So, let's do a quick recap of these 10 signs.
Okay.
We talked about constant hunger, intense cravings, fatigue even after sleep, stubborn weight, and accelerated aging, mood swings.
White tongue coating, easy bruising, high blood pressure, and frequent illnesses.
Wow. It's amazing how all of these like seemingly unrelated symptoms can all stem from a diet that's, lacking those essential nutrients and overloaded with processed foods and sugar.
Right.
It's a powerful reminder that our bodies are complex systems. Everything is interconnected.
Absolutely. When one part of the system is out of balance, it can have a ripple effect throughout our entire body.
Okay, so I'm feeling inspired, like I want to make some changes, but what are some practical steps we can take to incorporate more of those nourishing foods? I think a lot of people get kind of overwhelmed when they think about overhauling their entire eating habits.
A really simple but effective strategy is to focus on crowding out the processed stuff with whole, unprocessed foods. Instead of restricting ourselves, let's focus on adding in more fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, healthy fats, and whole grains. When those foods become the foundation of our diet, we naturally start to crowd out the processed foods that are causing so many problems.
I like that approach.
Yeah.
It feels more positive, it's like it's not about restriction, it's about adding those good things in.
Right. Shifting our mindset from what can I eat less of to what can I add in to nourish my body.
Okay, yeah. What are some simple swaps we can make, in our everyday lives? I know like breakfast is always a struggle for me. I reach for the sugary cereal out of habit. I know it's not good for me.
Yeah, instead of the sugary cereal, try a bowl of oatmeal with berries and nuts.
Okay.
You'll get more fiber and protein. It keeps you fuller for longer. For an afternoon snack, instead of that candy bar, try some Greek yogurt with fruit. And for lunch or dinner, instead of a processed frozen meal, try a big salad with grilled chicken or fish.
Those are all great ideas. So it's about those small changes, right?
Exactly. Yeah, small, sustainable changes that add up over time.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to experiment in the kitchen. Cooking at home allows you to control the ingredients and make healthier choices.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, they get kind of intimidated by cooking, but it doesn't have to be complicated, right?
Right.
There are so many simple, healthy recipes out there. It's about finding what works for you.
Yeah.
And your lifestyle, what works for you.
Absolutely. You don't have to be a gourmet chef overnight.
Yeah.
Just start with small changes, one meal at a time. Maybe swap out soda for water or unsweetened tea.
Oh, yeah.
Or try a piece of fruit for dessert instead of that sugary treat.
So this is about empowering ourselves, right? To make those choices. It's not about guilt. It's not about deprivation.
Right.
It's about nourishing our bodies.
It is, yeah.
We've been focusing a lot on the physical signs, but what about the mental and emotional impacts? We briefly touched on mood swings, but how else can our food choices impact our mental well-being?
That's a great point.
It's not just about how we look and feel physically. It's about our mental clarity and our emotional balance. We know that certain nutrients like omega-3 fatty acids are crucial for brain health and mood.
Right.
And I've heard that there's research that suggests that the gut microbiome plays a role in mental health too. Like imbalances in the gut microbiome have been linked to depression and anxiety.
Yeah.
That's kind of scary.
It is. So taking care of our gut health is crucial for both our physical and mental well-being.
It's all connected.
It really is.
It's amazing. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the negative impact, right?
Right.
Let's flip the script for a minute. What are some of the positive changes we can experience when we start prioritizing those nutrient-dense foods?
The benefits are numerous. When we nourish our bodies with what they need, we experience increased energy, improved mood, better sleep, clearer skin, and a stronger immune system.
And don't forget about weight management.
Of course.
When we focus on those whole, unprocessed foods, we naturally feel more satisfied. We're less likely to overeat. It takes the focus away from willpower and puts it on nourishing our bodies.
Absolutely. And as we improve our insulin sensitivity, our body actually becomes more efficient at burning fat for fuel.
Yeah, that's huge. That this deep dive has been so insightful. It's empowering to realize that we have so much control, through the choices that we make every single day.
Marriage is power.
Yeah.
The more we understand about how our bodies work, the better equipped we are to make choices that support our well-being. It's not about being perfect.
Yeah.
It's about making progress.
You mentioned earlier that our gut bacteria can send signals to our brain,
Yeah.
influencing our cravings and food choices.
Right.
That's so wet. So does that mean that our gut bacteria can like make it harder to make healthy choices?
It can. When our gut bacteria is out of balance, we may crave the very foods that are contributing to that imbalance.
Oh, that makes sense.
So that's why it's so important to nourish our gut with prebiotic and probiotic-rich foods.
Oh, yeah. Prebiotics and probiotics.
Yeah.
We hear those words a lot, but I'm not even sure I fully understand what they are.
Prebiotics are essentially food for our beneficial gut bacteria. You can think of them as like fertilizer for our gut garden.
Okay.
And probiotics are live beneficial bacteria that can actually help to repopulate our gut with the good guys.
Okay, so where can we find these gut-friendly foods?
Prebiotics are found in things like onions, garlic, leeks, asparagus, bananas, and oats.
Okay.
Probiotics are found in fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, kombucha.
It's amazing that we can like nourish our gut bacteria through the foods we eat.
Right.
It really makes you realize how everything is interconnected.
It truly is. And when we support a healthy gut microbiome, we're supporting our overall health in countless ways.
Okay, I'm starting to see the bigger picture here.
Yeah.
So we need to be mindful of those 10 signs, right?
Right.
That our diet might be sabotaging our health. We need to focus on crowding out processed foods with those nutrient-dense whole foods. And we need to nourish our gut with those prebiotic and probiotic-rich foods.
Exactly. It's a holistic approach that addresses both the physical and the microbial aspects of our health.
Yeah, this deep dive has been so eye-opening. I really hope our listeners feel empowered to take charge of their health,
Me too.
and make choices that support their well-being.
Absolutely.
Okay. Before we wrap up, I want to touch on something we mentioned earlier, which is stress.
Yeah.
We know that chronic stress can have such a negative impact on our health, but what can we do to manage stress effectively?
That's a great question. There's so many strategies for managing stress. It's really about finding what works for you. Some people find relief through exercise, yoga or meditation. Others find solace in nature, connecting with loved ones. And for some, therapy or counseling can be incredibly helpful.
Yeah, it's about finding those healthy coping mechanisms
It is.
that help us navigate the stresses of life, because we can't eliminate it,
Right?
but we can manage it.
Yeah. And it's important to remember that self-care is not selfish.
Right.
It's about prioritizing our well-being so we can show up as our best selves.
This deep dive has been so informative and empowering. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of how my food choices are impacting my health. It's not just about weight loss or fitting into a certain size. It's about nourishing my body from the inside out.
It really is. Yeah. It's about honoring our bodies and giving them what they need to thrive, creating a lifestyle that supports our physical, mental, and emotional well-being.
I love that. This conversation has given me so much to think about.
Me too.
It's like a wake-up call to pay attention to those subtle signs, right, that our body is giving us.
Mm-hmm.
It's about taking ownership of our health and making conscious choices that support us.
Absolutely.
And remembering that we're not alone in this. There's so many resources out there.
Right. To support us, books, websites, registered dietitians, health coaches.
We don't have to have all the answers. It's about being curious, asking questions,
Yeah.
and seeking guidance.
Exactly.
When we need it. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the impact of our food choices on our personal health.
Mm-hmm.
But what about the impact on our planet?
That's a great question to consider. Our food choices have far-reaching consequences. They don't just affect our own health, but they also affect the health of our planet.
Wow.
It's about recognizing that we're part of a larger ecosystem, and our choices have ripple effects that extend far beyond ourselves.
So what are some things we can consider when making food choices that are good for our bodies and the environment?
That's a topic for another deep dive.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something for all of us to ponder as we navigate this world of food and nutrition.
I agree. It's about expanding our awareness.
It is.
And making conscious choices that benefit us and the planet.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is fascinating to think about how it's all connected,
It really is. It's like we're all part of this intricate web of life, and our choices have a bigger impact, more than just ourselves.
It's true. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one key takeaway that you hope our listeners will walk away with?
I hope they realize that their health isn't completely determined by willpower or genetics.
Right.
It's really shaped by the choices we make. every day, especially when it comes to the food we need.
It's about recognizing the power that we have, to shape our own well-being.
Yeah, precisely. It's about, becoming aware of those subtle signs that our bodies are giving us
Yeah.
and making those gradual changes
Yeah.
that support our overall health, the sustainable changes.
And celebrating those small wins, right, along the way.
Absolutely. Progress, not perfection.
I love that. Progress, not perfection. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good reminder for all of us. Okay, so this deep dive has been so eye-opening. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of how my food choices impact my health, and I'm excited to put some of these tips into practice.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I encourage our listeners to do the same. Start with those small changes, one meal at a time.
Yeah.
And celebrate those victories along the way.
Yeah, and for those who might be feeling overwhelmed, just remember, you don't have to do this alone.
You don't.
There are so many resources out there.
There are. Yeah.
To support you on your journey, books, websites. There are registered dietitians, health coaches.
That's so many. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. Seeking guidance and support can really make a world of difference.
Well, that brings us to the end of another deep dive.
It does. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Exploring these topics.
As always, thank you. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery. And until next time, keep diving deep, keep exploring, and keep nourishing your incredible body.
Yes.